you. So welcome. Today, I'm gonna actually mute you first. Today, I'm gonna have you start in child's pose. Now, if child's pose is something is really difficult for you to be in, you can choose to stay in a seated position. Okay, but if you would like to, try to see if child's pose works for you, you'll have your knees out wide and your toes kind of close to touch behind you. If you have props, you can even put them behind your knee here so that your knees don't have to bend quite as much. And then slowly begin to lower your chest down to the ground. If you've got a block or something that you can put under your head, sometimes that helps with keeping you a little bit more out of that flexion in the front of the hip. So if you think you might be able to assume, some version of child's pose, make your way there. Now, if child's pose is just too much to ask out of the knees and or the hips, I want you to find something to sit on so that you can have a nice neutral pelvis, and you'll start in a seated position. Okay, so I see a little bit of both. That's great. And if you come into child's pose and you hold that for a little bit, and then after a bit you feel like it's just, you've had enough, you can always transition into the seated position, into that position that you know so well, right on your cushion or your towel. So I see you guys kind of adjusting and trying it out, seeing how it feels. Sometimes a little cushion under the knees helps a little bit. You've kind of like mitigated that choice in opening position. Shut down your eyes. And if you're in child's pose, each exhale, let your hips grow a little bit heavier towards your heels. And each inhale, feel the expansion through the rib cage. Now, if you're in a seated position, as you inhale, feel that expansion too in the rib cage. And as you exhale, feel the grounding of the sit bones underneath you. Taking the time to arrive on the mat. Beginning to deepen your breath and become more aware of that breath. The breath is that center place that you can tether mind and body. We practice yoga so that we can help find that connection of our mind and our thinking brain, turn that off so that we can find that ebb and flow of connection between what we're doing in this moment with our body and our mind connecting through our breath to that movement. You've carved out this time for yourself. So really utilize this time to the most that it has to offer. Tethering your mind to your body using your breath. These last few breaths, I invite you to create an intention for your practice today. Bring some purpose onto the mat with you. Take a couple of nice, big, solid breaths to seal your intention in. And if you're in seated, you'll stay put. If you're in child's pose, rock yourself up almost to a tabletop position, and then just let your hips fall to the side and swing your legs around. Find that prop that you have chosen to sit on. Get your hips up on there. Scoot your sit bones all the way to the edge so that you can create that neutral pelvis. Once you have that neutral pelvis, you can really begin to grow tall through the crown of the head. Pull the belly in slightly. If your eyes are not open, blink them open. Inhale your arms up and over. Look up. Watch them connect. Exhale through heart center. 4 more, using your own breath. Continue. Finding the flow. Using your breath to help move your body. And after that 4th one, you'll find heart center. Inhale your arms up, leave them up. Face your palms towards me. Exhale, bend at the wrist. Inhale, straighten them. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. 3 more, just like that. Using your breath. Your next exhale, you'll squeeze your hands into a fist. Really find engagement all the way down the arm. Inhale, back out with the fingers. Exhale, squeeze into a fist. Inhale, release. Exhale, squeeze into the fist. Release. This last one, find as much engagement all the way through the arm, and then release. Neutral arm, neutral breath, little circles. Keep that low belly pulled in so that you don't begin to arch through the back or round through the spine. Change directions with your circles. Pause, inhale, look up, watch your hands connect. Exhale through heart center. Open up your arms to cactus arms, okay? Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades. Inhale, this time we're gonna change it, go all the way up. Exhale, cactus arms, squeeze. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus, squeeze. Inhale, up. You've got 2 more just like that. Exhale, cactus, and squeeze. Inhale, up. 1 more. Exhale, cactus, squeeze. Inhale, up. And watch your hands connect. Exhale, down through heart center. Bring your hands just behind your hips onto the mat. Maybe your hands rotate a little bit externally. And then lean back just a little bit. We're gonna do little back bends. So exhale all your air out. And then inhale, lean back a little bit as you broaden the chest and turn the eyes of your elbows out. Maybe you look up. And then exhale, coming back to center. So keep your hands there. Inhale fully, fill up those lungs as you turn the eyes of your elbows out, broaden the chest, and look up. We're gonna do 1 more. Exhale, coming out of that. Little gentle back bend here. Inhale, broaden the chest, externally rotate the arms, and look up. Exhale down through heart center. Interlace your hands in front of you and push the palms out in front of you. And how much you extend your arms is really up to you. There's different flexibility in the arms and the wrists and the fingers. Now raise those fingers up overhead. Pull the low belly in, and again, how far up you can go is really up to your range of motion. Taking another couple of breaths here with your hands, pushing palms up, and then bring them back to center in front of you. Bend at the elbows, keep them interlaced, and just make little circles here, round and around with the wrists. And then maybe try to find the other direction, which seems really hard to do. And then releasing out of that bind. This is where you'll need a strap. Okay, so if you've got a strap or a towel, you don't need anything super long, so like a dish towel would even work. Okay, you're gonna take your strap, whatever it is you're using, and drape it over your right shoulder. Okay, and then I'm gonna kind of turn to the side so that you can see. Actually, I'm gonna turn so that my back is facing you. So right shoulder is got my strap draped over. I'm gonna reach back with my left hand and find the strap. So I got the strap now with my left hand, okay? And then I'm gonna take my right hand, go up and over and find the strap. Okay, so now this is called cow-faced arms. I want you all to pull in your belly. Make sure that you've got a nice neutral hip, that you're not overarching in the low back. And then see if you can lift that right elbow and inch your hands together. Pull the shoulders down the back, the belly's pulled in, and then as much as you can, pull that right elbow back. Pausing here for a couple of breaths, feeling that expansive inhale, and that contraction through the exhale. One more breath, and then slowly let go and release out of those. And just some shoulder rolls, maybe a little bit of seated cat-cow. Good. And then switching the strap to the other side. So now it's over the left shoulder. And we're going to take that right hand, reach it back behind, find that strap. And then the left hand is going to come up overhead and back behind and find the strap. And then we're going to sit up nice and tall, pull the belly in and the shoulders down the back. And then maybe we inch the hands a little bit closer along that strap. The left elbow's going to push back. Now we all have different range of motion, especially those of you who've had surgery. So, you know, take this slow. If there's any sharp pain, it's a no, don't do it. If there's a stretching sensation, that's good. Keep going and breathing. And then just tap into that expansive inhale and that contraction of the exhale. A couple more breaths here. And then slowly release those hands. You can take that strap and just move it off to the side. And then seated cat-cows before we move on. And then settling into a neutral spine. Inhale the arms up. Pause here. Take the right hand, make it a kickstand. Exhale and lean over to the right with your left hand. Keep the chest rotated up. This right hand becomes that little bit of a kickstand. You can inch it away from your hip as you get deeper into the stretch. Some of you may even be able to get down to the elbow, but you know, not necessary. Ground that left hip into the mat underneath you. And then inhale yourself back up to center, pausing here, taking your right hand, putting it on the mat right behind your right hip. Inhale, lift and look up. Exhale, coming into a twist to the right. So that left hand is going to come onto the outside of the right knee. Opening the chest, keeping it broad. Adjusting that right hand as needed. Pull the shoulders down the back. Pull in the belly and rotate from that belly. And keep the spine long. Maybe look over the right shoulder. On your next inhale, untwist and sweep the arms up and over. Watch them connect. Exhale down through heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Pause here. Drop that left hand. It becomes your kickstand. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lean to the left. That left hand becomes your kickstand. You can inch it out. Maybe slowly you make your way closer to your elbow, maybe not. Try not to let those shoulders pull up to the ears. And really, as you lean to the left, feel that right hip anchoring to the ground. Keep that chest open. Next inhale, come up to center. Take that left hand, put it right behind the left hip. Inhale fully, look up. And then exhale, coming into a twist to the left. My right hand is coming to the outside of my left knee, keeping my shoulders down the back, finding a nice long spine, and twisting to the left and maybe looking over the left. Keep that low belly pulled in. Keep the alignment of the spine. Next inhale, we'll come untwisting, sweep your hands up overhead, watch them connect, exhale down through heart center. Good. Drop your right hand to the mat. The left hand can just rest on the knee. This is choice one. The other choice is to bring your forearm to the small of the low back. Now, if you can do that comfortably and your right shoulder doesn't jut forward, that's a good place for you. If you find that you're jutting forward or this just doesn't feel comfortable, take that hand and put it down on the mat next to you. So either place, shoulders are pulled down the back, belly's pulled in, sitting nice and buoyantly out of the hips. Inhale, exhale, turn to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale, center. This time, exhale, turn and pause. Now, as you pause here, think about that right shoulder really pulling down and away from the neck. You should feel a stretch through the right side of the neck, maybe up into the ear. Be mindful of what your spine and your low belly are doing. Find a drishti, a gazing point. And use your breath to keep your mind tethered. And then bring your head back to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, center, twice more. And this time, pause with your ear down towards your left shoulder. And just pausing here and again, kind of thinking about that right shoulder, actively pulling away from the ear. Now take your shoulder, keep that leaning nature of the neck, but round the chin down. It's going to change the stretch just a little bit more towards the back of the neck. You can tuck the chin a little bit, and you might feel it up into the base of the skull. Now, keeping that lean of the head, take that chin and round it up. Okay, so attempting to kind of find the front of the neck, maybe into the jaw. And you can stay in any one place, but I invite you now to kind of round that chin down and back up. Couple breaths here, so knowing that you can stop at one spot that feels particularly good. I like it when it goes into my jaw. And then bringing your head back up to neutral, bringing your right hand back to your right knee, and moving through just a couple of cat-cows. So connecting your breath, inhaling as you broaden the chest, exhale as you round. And then finding a neutral spine, sitting up nice and tall. Drop the left hand to the left hip. So that's option one. Or take that forearm and slide it behind you into the small of the back. Just make sure that that left shoulder isn't jutting forward and rounding. So make sure that it's able to kind of stay in alignment there. All right, inhale, and then exhale, turn to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We have one more. And this time on our exhale, turn and pause. And think about actively pulling that left shoulder down and away from the ear as you actively turn the head. And again, be gentle with your range of motion. We all have different range of motion in the neck. So push up against that range of motion just a little bit, just enough to feel that stretch. Maybe finding, you can get a little further as you're here for a moment. And then on your next inhale, come to center. Exhale, drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Inhale up. Exhale, drop. Inhale up. You got 3 more just like that. On this one, you're going to pause with that right ear drop to the right shoulder and actively pull that left shoulder down and away from the ear. Now keeping that lean of the head so that ear stays leaning towards the right shoulder, take the chin and round it down towards that right shoulder. So that should change the feel of the stretch. And keeping that lean of the ear, take that chin and begin to stretch it up and to the right. Getting that jaw, front of the neck area. And then feeling free to pause anywhere in that sort of half rotation of your head, keeping the lean, actively pulling the left shoulder down, and then moving through that chin movement or pausing in one spot. And then bring your head nice and slowly back to center. Release the hand from back behind you. And then again, move through some cat-cows, just kind of articulating the spine and shoulders and hips. Getting everything to work together here. And then pausing with a neutral spine, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, heart center. You have 4 more using your own breath. And we'll meet with hands and heart center. When you're done with your 4th round on your own, hands connected at your heart, closing your eyes for just a moment, bowing your chin, reconnecting to your body, but also perhaps your intention that you set at the beginning of class. And connecting to that purpose you've chosen to bring onto the mat today. Release the hands down. We're going to transition into tabletop position. So set yourself up. Cushions under knees if you need it. Making sure that your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. Pulling the belly in and rounding just a bit between the shoulder blades, and then pull the shoulders down the back, finding engagement just behind the armpits there. Just feeling this position for a moment. Take a nice big inhale, fill up your lungs all the way. And as you exhale, cat pose, rounding the back, tucking the tail and chin. Inhale, sag the belly, broaden the chest, push the hips back. Exhale, inhale. Keeping those breaths full and expansive. And then settling with a neutral spine. Okay. Take the right leg out back behind you, but anchor the toes. So not a bird dog, right? The toes are on the ground. Now, you're gonna ground the inner arch, so that right heel is gonna ground as your hips begin to open, okay? Now, this takes a little bit of balance. Pull the shoulders down your back and see if you can open up your arms to a T. Keep your belly in, squeeze your glutes just a little bit. Look down, that'll help for balance. We're gonna come out of this in just a moment, as controlled as possible. See if you can round that hip and ground that right hand coming into that extended leg with the foot out. Now lift that foot off the ground. So now we have a bird dog leg here. We have a nice straight leg reaching out through that right heel. Pull the belly in, pull the shoulders down the back. Stay here or add the left arm, stretching it out in front of you, reaching actively through the fingertips, bicep by the ear. Make your cervical spine nice and long. And then release down with the left hand. The left toes are gonna come down. Now take the right foot out to the side. So we've been here before. Your right foot is gonna plant flat on the ground here. Now I want you to take your right hip and push it down in the direction of your left knee. So right there now, you should feel a nice stretch in the inner thigh. If you need to bend the knee a little bit or change the direction of the toe, do so. Finding that stretch on the inner thigh. Now you can stay here in stillness or you can rock back and forth, kind of coming into a child's pose type position and then back and forth, or just find one spot that feels good and breathe through it. Couple breaths here. And then pausing with your hips over your knee, we're gonna bring that right foot now to the outside of our right hand. All right, you guys are doing awesome. We're gonna come up into a half kneeling position. So once you've kind of planted that foot, you can bring your right hand to your right knee and bring yourself upright, okay? All right, now if this is difficult for you, having a chair next to you could help. So something next to you might be able to find balance. Now, if you're mitigating your balance here, work on that. Don't even bother with what we're gonna do next. Just really focus on balance, pulling in the belly, pull that tailbone down towards the ground. Find engagement here through the hips as if you're scissoring your hips together. So if you're just working on balance, stay here. Otherwise, inhale, sweep the arms up, look up, shift your weight forward a little bit, and come down on your exhale. We're gonna do that twice more. Inhale, and exhale. Good job, you guys. Inhale, and exhale. One more for those of you who are sweeping your arms up. Pause here for just a moment. And then on your exhale, everybody's gonna bring your hands to the mat. And then maybe you gotta heel toe that foot out a little bit so that you can pull in the belly and swing that knee back so that you're in all fours. Good job. All right. Let's move through some cat cows. So inhale fully, and on your exhale, round the back, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale. Inhale. One more of each. All right, find a neutral spine. I'm going to turn around so you can see better. All right, we've got a second side. So that left foot now is going to stretch out. So that left leg stretch out, but the toes are going to meet the mat. Okay, now I'm going to ground my left heel as my left hip opens up. Pull the belly in, pull the shoulders down the back, and open up. Now again, you might be just sort of focusing on your balance, and that's okay. Take your time. Gaze down at your right fingertips. Pause here. Pull that belly in. Glutes are engaged, both of them. Good. Slowly come back up onto your toes. Ground your left hand. And then bring your left foot out to the side. Sole of the foot is planted on the ground. Take your left hip and push it down to the mat towards your right knee. Okay, and that should make a good stretch on the inner thigh. And then again, if you'd like to investigate some movement through the stretch, great. If you want to stay in stillness, that's great too. If there's any like sensation in the knee, you can have a little bend. You can also experiment with, what direction your toes are facing. Couple more breaths here, just finding your stretch. All right, coming up into neutral. So we're gonna now get that left foot and bring it, pull that belly in to the left, outside of the left hand. Now again, take your time here. Remember, if you had a little bit of balance issues on the other side, of a chair or something on the side of you could help. Okay, coming nice and slowly up right with your torso. Okay, so just finding that balance is a great place to work. Okay, take the tailbone, stretch it down. Pull that right glute, pull it in so that you're pushing that right hip forward and you're pulling that left hip back. Belly button pulls in. So if this is a good place for you, awesome. If you'd like to move dynamically with me, inhale your arms up as you shift your weight forward and look up. Exhale, swing them back to your side. We have 3 more just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Really keep that right glute pulled underneath you. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to do 1 more and hold at the top. Here we go. Inhale. Squeeze that right glute. Tuck that tail down a little bit. And on your exhale, bring your hands all the way to the mat on the inside of that left foot. Heel toe that left foot out. Pull the belly in. And find tabletop. 1 more time. Inhale fully. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. 2 more of each. Keep moving and breathing. And then eventually coming to a neutral spine. And we are going to come onto our bellies. So you can kind of just stretch out, come onto the elbows, and slowly lower on to the belly. You'll need a little bit of clearance around your mat. So you might want to kind of take care of that now. Take your arms out to a T. And if you don't have that space, you can kind of bend the elbows or bring the hands in a bit closer. Ideally, you're out to a T and your hands are just a little bit lower than the shoulders. Tent your hands so only the fingertips are on the ground. Now, you're going to center the head. I want you to tuck the tail so that your pubic bone is being anchored to the ground. Your glutes are squeezing. Anchor the top of your feet. Inhale, lift your chest. This is low back strengthening. Keep the shoulders down the back. And exhale down. Inhale is going to bring you back up. Inhale. Find that full extension that you can do. And then exhale, come down. 2 more. Keeping your pubic bone and the top of your toes planted onto the mat. Inhale to come up. Exhale to come down. Good. Let one cheek come to the mat. stretch your hands by your side and rest here for just a moment. You can shut down the eyes. You can even make a pillow for your chin if turning your head to one side doesn't work. And then bringing your hands just on either side of your rib cage. You're going to use the strength of your arms to come up onto your knees. And then we're going to come back into a seated position. So you're just going to let your hips fall to one side, sweep them around so that you're facing the front of your mat. I'm going to face you guys. And I want you to come into this position where your knees are bent, your feet are flat on the ground, and they're just about as wide as your shoulders. Bring your hands behind you so that you can be in kind of a nice long spine but reclined position. Okay, I want you to let your knees fall to the left. And then come through center and fall to the right. Now, come through center and fall to the left and pause there for a minute. Now, tendency is for that right hip to want to come up, right? If your knees are going to come all the way to the ground, that right hip's going to come up. It's okay if the right hip comes up, but what I want you to do is as your hips are falling to the left, or as your knees are falling to the left, take that right hip and attempt to push it to the ground just a little bit. It's going to create the stretch in the hip. And then come through center, fall to the right, and again, kind of create that action of grounding the left sit bone. And then on your own pace, just back and forth. And you can find whatever motion, if you want to let that hip fully come up, do it. Kind of a nice rocking motion. And then coming into seated, now's a good time to grab whatever it is that you have to sit on so that that neutral pelvis is easily or more easily maintained. So coming into Dandasana, legs are outstretched in front of you. You've got some toning to your legs. Toes are pointed up, kneecaps up the leg just a little bit. Inhale, sweep your arms up. And then exhale, fold over your legs, but I want that long spine. So for many of you, right, that hinging, it doesn't happen. There's not a lot of movement. Every inhale, long spine. Every exhale, maybe a little bit more folding. Okay, keep going. I'm just going to turn to the side so you kind of have a visual. Each time I might hinge a little bit more, my sit bones are going to start to rotate towards the back of me. So that's what gets the hamstrings here. 2 more breaths, prioritizing that long spine. Keeping those legs straight and strong. On your next exhale, if you'd like to round and let the head be heavy, reaching the hands out, grabbing whatever you can. Couple breaths here. And then slowly rolling yourself back up. Take your right sole of your foot into the inner left thigh so that you're kind of in a flag or maybe a figure 4 type of positioning. Okay, again, that left leg straight and strong. Right knee, pushing it down into the mat underneath you. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold over the left leg again, long spine. Okay, this changes the stretch a bit. You might feel a little bit more in that right hip, maybe low back area. Long spine. Really actively pushing that right knee towards the ground. Next exhale, if you'd like to round, do so. And maybe your rounding doesn't look that much different than your straight spine. That's okay. Really, it's more about gaining the benefits. And slowly coming up. And bring that right sole of the foot to the ground and bring it right over the left. So it's on the outside of the left. And then bring your right hand behind you. Inhale and exhale. Grab that knee and pull it to the chest as you rotate to the right. Okay. If you don't feel like you need that right hand behind you, you can double arm hug it. I love you. I have a feeling most of us are not getting enough hugs these days. This is like, give yourself a hug right here. Almost as good. Slowly releasing, uncrossing the legs and switching sides. Left sole of the foot comes into the right inner thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Make that right leg straight and strong. That left knee is pushing down towards the mat. Sweep the arms up on an inhale. Exhale as you forward fold over that right leg, keeping the spine long. Remember, you're really trying to rotate those sit bones towards the back of your mat as you hinge a little bit more. Actively pushing that left knee down. And this side might feel totally different. It's pretty normal. Something to take note of, but to not really place any judgment around. Next exhale, if you want to round, let your head be heavy. And slowly coming on up. Place the left sole of the foot on the ground and cross it over the right leg. You can take that left hand behind the left hip. Inhale, nice tall spine. Exhale, pull that knee in towards the chest as you twist to the left. And then again, if you don't feel like you need that left hand behind you on the ground, a double arm hug here. Just really creating a nice long spine, pulling the shoulders down the back as you twist to the left. Giving your leg a nice, warm, self-loving embrace. Maybe looking over the left shoulder, completing the twist. All right, slowly coming out of that, uncrossing the leg. Now bringing the legs to a wide-legged position. Again, I want those legs, to have some firmness to them. Don't just let them flop there. When they flop, I tend to kind of round through the spine. So finding that integrity of your alignment. And then inhale, arms up. And then exhale, you can bring them to the mat in front of you as you hinge forward. Maybe not a lot of movement here, that's okay. Try to avoid that tendency to kind of hang the head, right? That makes us feel like we might be getting closer to the ground. Really lift the head to align the spine and then lead with the belly instead of the head. And again, maybe you don't get very far, and that's okay. It's just the point is to feel the stretch. And then breathe, right? Be in the moment with this stretch. Listen to your body and what it's telling you. And then slowly come upright. You can come back to the center, or I'm going to come to a side stretch. So I'm going to bring my right hand and my right elbow to the inside of my right leg. I'm going to open up my chest here, and then I'm going to slowly, as I exhale, bring my left hand up overhead into a side stretch. Again, your left hip is going to really try to anchor to the ground. Keep the shoulders pulled down and then kind of round that chest up. I like to look down feels better on my neck. Couple breaths here, just feeling that stretch between the rib cage and the hip. And then coming back up to center and switching sides. So now left elbow and hand come inside the left leg. Sweep that right arm up, and as you exhale, bend to the left, anchoring the right hip, shoulders down the back. Find that gazing point that works on the neck. Keep those legs strong. Feel that pull of the rib cage away from the hip. Coming back up to center, and then bringing the soles of the feet together, Baddha Konasana. So grabbing the ankles, using that leverage so that you can sit up tall. Even if you're sitting up tall with your knees up here, that's fine. Okay, just find that nice tall spine, pull the belly in, and then if you want, starting to hinge forward, bringing the elbows to the inner thigh, pushing those knees down the back, down to the mat. Maybe a little bit of a hinging motion from the hips, leading again with the belly, not the head. So keep that head lifted, push the belly towards the feet. Keep the shoulders pulled down the back. And slowly coming out of that, letting both legs out long and just taking a couple moments to let them bounce. And then we're gonna slowly come onto our backs. Right, you can kind of roll the spine down all the way. And our first position here, our first asana in this laying position is gonna be legs up. So if you have a block and you wanna put it underneath your hips, or if perhaps you wanna just do one leg up at a time, if you wanna use a strap, you can totally use a strap. But we're gonna leave our legs up in the air for about 40 seconds. So feel it out. I will give you a halfway point so that if you are just doing one leg, you'll know when to switch. So you're getting your legs and your feet as much over the hips as you can manage. And if they don't make it over the hips, it's okay. The point really is to be able to hold this and to allow that fluid to drain. And then whatever's comfortable with the arms, if you're not holding a strap, take a couple of breaths to let tension out of the shoulders and the jaw. We're just about halfway, so if you're just doing one leg, go ahead and switch. All right, bending the knees, lowering the feet. Allow the feet to be a wider than hip width, and then just let them windshield wiper after that, just back and forth. And then coming to stillness, keeping the left leg bent. Right leg is gonna extend up over the hip. If you'd like to set up a strap over the ball of your foot to help keep it up there, do so. On your exhale, point your toe. Inhale, flex. Exhale, point. Inhale, flex. Good, you've got 3 more. On your next exhale, you're gonna bend at the knee. Keep the knee over the hip, let the heel drop. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. 3 more. And after your third one, you'll pause in straight with a straight leg and little circles. Keep the low belly toned here so that you don't have any overarching in the back. Little circles, one direction. Change direction. Come to stillness. Let the foot come down to the mat. And then anything you want to do between sides. Maybe it's windshield wiper. Maybe it's, you know, full body stretch. Maybe it's a bridge pose. Your choice. And then coming back, both feet flat on the mat. Keep the right leg bent. Extend the left leg high. Set up your strap if you're using one. And then on your exhale, point. Inhale, flex. Really find the end range of motion as you do that. Okay, keep going. All right, lymphedema exercises are about engaging the muscle and then letting them go like a pump. So you do really want to find the engagement through these muscles. Okay, exhale this time and drop the heel. Really squeeze that heel in. Inhale up. Exhale, you're going to feel your hamstring when you squeeze that heel in, and then inhale up. You got to get that pumping motion of the muscle for it to be effective in draining liquid fluid. One more. Pause in stillness, little circles. This one's really just using gravity, but also the motion of the circles. And then switch directions. Come into stillness and bend the knee, bringing the feet back to the ground. And again, yogi's choice on like what you want to do as we finish up those lymphedema exercises. Okay, coming into stillness, bring those heels as close to the sit bones as you feel like you can manage. Setting up for bridge pose, but not yet. Actually, we're going to do some pelvic tilts. So as you recall, pelvic tilt, on an exhale, you're going to scoop the tailbone up, light off of the mat. Corset the core, low back flat to the ground. Inhale, release. Okay, so we're not coming up into a full bridge. Exhale, light through the tailbone, really flatten that low back, feel the bracing of the core. Inhale, release. Do two more. Make your exhale nice and long. On your next exhale, okay, you're going to start with the pelvic tilt, but then you're going to peel your hips all the way up into a bridge, coming up into that shape we all know well at this point. Driving down through the heels, but also pulling the heels a little bit towards your body. Create a nice long neck. And then feel the weight in your shoulders. Squeeze those glutes and lift those hips. And then one vertebrae at a time, coming down. Bring your right ankle onto your left knee. So figure four positioning with your legs. You're more than welcome to just do a traditional bridge. Okay, pushing up, using that pelvic tilt, finding bridge pose with figure four legs. So actively pulling that right knee towards the ground as you lift the hips up. And then slowly lowering. See if you can control the dismount here. And then thread the needle through to the left hamstring, or use a strap if you need to make it accessible. And come into a figure four stretch. So really think about stretching your tailbone to the ground. Opening up that knee with the right elbow. Release the left foot to the mat. Cross the legs completely or uncross them. We're coming in a supine twist. So crossing them is going to be a little bit more of an active twist. Uncrossing them and just letting them fall to the left will be a little bit gentler. So you can kind of make that decision. Open up your arms to a T, ground your right shoulder, and maybe look over the right shoulder. So even though we're winding down in our practice, keeping that sense of cultivating presence in this moment. Your day will be waiting for you when you're done. Try not to let it creep into this moment that you created for yourself. Bringing your knees back up to center and setting up for the other side. So left ankle on right knee. Again, you're more than welcome to just go into that straight traditional bridge. And then pushing yourself up into a bridge using that pelvic tilt. Actively pushing the left knee to the ground as you lift the hips higher. Slowly articulating down, seeing if you can control with only that one leg. And then threading the needle through to the right hamstring, figure 4 stretch. Using a strap if needed. Thinking about stretching that tailbone down to the mat. And maybe that left elbow can give that right knee some pressure to stay open. Releasing tension out of the shoulders and jaw. Slowly grounding that right foot and coming into your supine twist. So whatever you're choosing to do, crossing the legs, uncrossing the legs, opening the arms to a T, letting the knees fall to the right, anchoring the left shoulder, maybe looking over the left shoulder. Slowly bringing those knees up through center, uncrossing them if they were crossed, bringing your feet together and your knees out wide, Supta Baddha Konasana. If this feels like too much, you can straighten your legs and skip Supta Baddha Konasana. Shavasana is coming next. So we're just using this as a transition asana as we settle down, surrendering to stillness, letting go of breath control, finding that sneaky tension that seems to linger too long in the body, lots of times in the shoulders, the jaws, the hips. So just making that transition of letting go here. And then when you're ready, releasing one leg at a time, adding any props that you need or want to ground yourself and feel the ability to let go. Take up room on the mat, close your eyes. And let go. Be honest with yourself, right? Are you already planning what you're going to do after class? Because if so, ask your mind to come back. You're not there yet. So practice that little bit of discipline that it takes here to keep your mind anchored in this stillness. Ever so slowly bringing yourself back up to the surface, deepening your breath, bringing some movement back into your body. You guys know the drill. Taking this transition slow and mindfully, maybe pausing on your side as you roll to get up. No hurry, no hurry. Take your time in this transition. And once you've made it into a comfortable seated position, you can bring your hands to heart center, bow your chin, and just one more time, reconnect to the intention that you brought onto your mat. Remembering that that's forever a tool that you can hold in your tool belt for life. Those intentions are not just meant for the mat, they are meant to be taken with you and serve their greater purpose as you move through each moment and each day. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing your breath and your movement. Even though we're in separate spaces, I still feel each of you and your energy that you put out into the universe, and I'm forever grateful. The highest light in me sees and honors and respects the highest light in you. Namaste.